Well, it's been a while.
Bonjour.
How's it all? How's everyone going?
How's it hanging?
How's it hanging?
To the left, to the right.
To the center? To
Yeah.
the middle? Well, it has been a while. Today we are going to be talking to you guys about manifestation and time. What is manifestation?
Time is fake.
Time is an illusion. What is time? And basically, yeah, we're gonna decode all the concepts of manifestation and time. So, Chris, what's manifestation?
Well, it's what you start praying for. In the past, it would be you sitting down or on your knees praying for something to develop and happen for you, while in other, well, actually, that's what it is for every religion. Did you know that in 1950 was the only time that it was globally accepted that evolution might actually be a thing?
No, I actually didn't know that.
1,950 years.
Wow.
Think about that. Only in 1950 was it fully accepted that evolution is possible.
I
So
didn't know
before that, Jews, Christians, Muslims, Buddha, whatever else, it was actually a discussion about, either Adam and Eve, or it was a discussion of an egg, because I think that's what it is for Buddha, like it came out of an egg or something, whatever.
What came
Anyways,
first, the chicken or the egg?
so when you start thinking about that, that's major, because that means it's only been, 70 years that we've actually had the conversation that evolution is a thing?
Yeah.
That's crazy when you
Oh.
really start thinking about it.
And that's where manifestation comes in, right? Because we can manifest everything we actually set our mind to. That is one's reality, really, because what happens is, you're thinking of something, you're projecting what your thoughts are into the real world, but you don't realize it because you think that you're gonna just dream it. It's the whole big dream about things. I dream about having a mansion or a Ferrari and whatnot, but that's actually you putting words into the universe and actually manifesting it.
Well, that's
Obviously, this is material things, but
Well,
just an
I'm
example.
happy you said materialism, because that's what we've been told to believe is the only thing possible, right? Because we've been bombarded by media marketing to think that that's success. But again, in the past, what was success? It was a family.
Love,
It was love.
joy,
It was family.
peace,
Togetherness.
yeah,
Community.
unity.
Where is that today?
Oh, you're 100% right, and that's
It's not even encouraged.
No.
It's shat on.
100%.
Like you can't even say what a woman is anymore. So how are you supposed to know what you fall in love with? it's
we'll leave that one for another one.
That's
but
another
it's
conversation,
Exactly,
but-
that's exactly what you're trying to say.
but let's keep that in mind. 1950, right? Like before that, what were they manifesting? It was simple. Manifesting families.
Yeah.
And if you think about
if you
it,
want to go even further, manifesting winning a war, not dying, right?
that especially, but 1950 itself is right after World War II.
Yeah.
Which is majorly where the baby boomers began. And imagine that, right? Like, I don't know the numbers perfectly, but the fact that maybe we were half our population and the baby boomers brought us to 8 billion, they were for sure manifesting families. Because like you said, they were in fear for a good 5 years the war went on, I think, right? 1938 till 1945.
45, yeah.
And so, they were fearing for their lives that they would never get to have a life.
And see, we're going a little off topic, just that.
Well, actually, we're talking about the manifestation of what they went through.
But I was
and
gonna
how they
say-
manifested massive families,
Yeah,
and now
but
we're at 8 billion.
But I was gonna say,
I'm just saying it makes sense.
yeah. What I'm trying to get at is, no, I lost my train of thought. Thanks, Chris.
But you were getting somewhere.
No, I know I was. Basically, what you were saying is that they were fearing for their lives and stuff, but that's all the stress that they had to go through. And here we are in our today's society. Our stress is that we don't look good on Instagram. That was my
Exactly.
thought. That's the stress that we have to live. Oh my God, I'm not good enough. There's a picture. I take a selfie. Oh, I don't look good. Oh, it's so stressful. But then again, we're not going against a saber-toothed tiger that we have to elevate our stress levels. It's going
But
against
that's a
war.
good point, because again, it proves more of the fact of this manifestation that happened in 1940.
Yeah.
Right? There was a massive manifestation for family, and today the manifestations, as you're discussing, is materialism.
Yeah.
How many followers can you get? How
And-
perfect can you look?
And manifestation is different for everyone, right? We're all gonna have our own thought process, our own theory behind what a manifestation is. And manifestation, Chris was mentioning that to pray, you not necessarily, you can meditate, pray, and whatnot, but it doesn't necessarily have to be that you're praying for something. It's literally what your thought process is, and how you are in your divine light that you're gonna attain to your manifestation. So if you're thinking negatively, or so that's if subconsciously you're always negative, then you say I'm just gonna say, I want a Ferrari, I'm gonna get it. But subconsciously, negatively, you're never gonna get it. So that's a negative connotation to a manifestation. So yes, there is manifestation, but you have to actually deep down believe that you're gonna get to your goals, that you're gonna get what you manifested or wanted.
Actually, I'm happy you brought that up, because again, it doesn't only do prayer, and it's not only meditation.
Yeah.
You're totally right. It's your subconscious as well.
Yeah.
And you're discussing, how you're thinking about these riches and buying a Ferrari, but then on the other side, you might be thinking about the negative connotation to having a Ferrari, environmentally or whatever the case may be. But manifestation, if I've learned anything within my life, is that you're going to be getting an opportunity, and then you have to really ask yourself, are you willing to take on the consequences for that reality?
Is it that's a nice question. Is it the opportunity that you're getting, or are you creating a manifestation to create your own opportunity, but now you're only going to get it depending on depending on the state that you're in?
So,
are you negatively thinking it all the time, or are you actually in a positive manner living in a joyous, loving life?
Let's bring up some actual examples, because I have a few.
Okay.
A year ago, I was thinking of how can I be a teacher, or how can I be as closest as I can be to being a teacher. So then I got the opportunity, after a few other crazy opportunities that didn't work out, to now be a substitute at a school that's private. So luckily, they don't really need a teacher certificate. But I'm getting the chance to be a teacher because of it. That in itself is me manifesting it a year ago, and then boom, it actually happened. And I think, a year is a great idea of a timeline for your manifestation. For you to be putting it out there, to be like, okay, wait a minute, let me try this and see how it goes. But consequences that come is real. For example, I kind of lost my seniority at my other job, but I still kept it. But there's a consequence, right? There was a sacrifice.
So that's the thing about manifesting into the universe. The universe is going to give you what you are, really, what you deserve and what you need, right? So
What you need, I like that actually. There's a quote about that. You're not gonna get what you want.
you don't get what you want, you get what you are. So
Explain that for us.
So staying in
Are.
a positive state, it's who you are, right? I am Anthony, but I know my values, I know my worth. Whereas if I would be, I am Anthony, but I know I'm timid, I'm not courageous enough, I'm this, I'm that, I'm always putting myself down, then I'm only gonna get what I portray or what I manifest
Or what you're being.
or what I'm being. So I'm too negative. I'm too down on myself. I'm only gonna get things like attracts like, right? So if I'm again negative, I'm only gonna attract negative. Even though I think I'm trying to get positive, I want this, but it's how you go about it, saying, oh, why don't I always get this? Why can't I get this? But I'm manifesting it. Why can't I get it? Well, that's the exact reason why you're not getting it, is because you are in a negative state of mind, not realizing that you're only pushing your desire or your manifestation even further. I can give you an example also of what I had gone through. I picked up an institute, I opened up another institute, I've been teaching for a buddy of mine. I always thought of buying my teacher's naturopath school, example. But as I manifest that, another opportunity came my way, presented itself, where I actually bought the institute, right? So I didn't get the naturopath school, but I got another institute. So I'm manifesting something to grow in my future where I want something, but then the universe is going to give me, no, you don't deserve, it's not that I don't deserve it, it's you don't need that for this moment, you need something else along your path, whereas this institute is going to be yours.
As in like a training.
Could be a training, right? Could be a training. It could be that that's what I'm only going to get because that's all really what I need. I don't need to get something else.
Okay, so now you're talking about the dark hole versus like the dark hole of wanting more and more and
Yeah.
more versus recognizing this is enough.
Exactly.
But this is actually what it is to be that way.
100%.
And then it comes down to the reality of what other things fall apart to be going that way.
Yeah. You know, we could also use the example of the gym, of the center. You know, I always wanted, dreamed to have a center where you have everything
you
under
got
the roof,
it.
and I got it.
But then you realize maybe that time is not forever either.
Exactly.
And that's where time comes in when
Yeah.
it comes to manifestation. Recognizing that you're one person, 7 days in a week, 24 hours a day, and at one point that energy is going to go somewhere else. And that's okay.
Yeah. And when you manifest, right, time is an illusion. Right. We've said this plenty of times before, but time is an illusion. It's just a constraint that we make in our mind, right?
Yeah.
So when you manifest, doesn't mean that you're going to get it in a year or two that you actually wanted. Depending how your state is, you might actually be pushing your manifestation 10 years down the line instead.
Well, let's actually summarize that. The Gregorian calendar is a lie. Number two, you manifesting it and the time to get there comes down to you recognize what you need so that you can be there.
Yeah.
So for example, right now you have an institute, but you also have a center. You're splitting yourself two ways. You're coming to terms with the fact that at one point you're gonna have to give 100% to one thing and not the other. That's the recognition. That's the time and that's the manifestation itself. And it's you deciding to say, okay, is it gonna happen this year or next year?
Yeah.
And maybe another year after that, because there's certain things involved
100%.
that you have to either let go of or recognize that it's not something part of your journey anymore.
I like that you said let go of, right? You could take relationships as an example. When you know that a relationship isn't for you, but you prolong, I'm going to say the agony,
Yeah.
you
It's a
prolong
great
the
way.
agony, the universe is only testing you more and more, but you're only pushing your, maybe the actual person
You're
that's
suffering,
meant for you.
you're pain.
You're suffering, and you're pressing your own, your own wants and desires away. It's
Because
pretty
you're trying
much
to hold on to something that
isn't right for you.
has what's the word called? It has entered its end time.
Okay, yeah, that's
a good way of saying
that's a
it.
good way of saying it. I
Like,
guess.
the battery's dead. Let it go. Right? Like,
But that's it. The more you hold on to something,
You're
the
suffocating
longer
it.
you're suffocating yourself at the same time, and you're only prolonging your own desires, your own manifestation,
and you're destroying your well-being.
at the same time.
Because at the end of the day, you know it's over and done with.
Yep.
Yeah. Anyways, it's really interesting to think of how fossil fuel is the dead remnants of everything before us. And we're using that to energize ourselves in the future. Isn't that interesting?
In the future, then how long in the future?
Well, think about that, right? Like, we just talked about how you have to let go of a past friendship
Yeah.
or a past idea, and then it catapults you into a new story.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah,
And
exactly.
you can, we remember we talk in metaphors when we come to these things, right? Like, recognizing materialism is a metaphor. Is recognizing, okay, that's its own category. Then other part of materialism is basic needs, like you need to eat. It's not an Instagram photo that's going to make you survive. You have to eat, right?
Yeah.
So metaphors. But then when we come to the reality of things and what's in front of us, so for example, what I'm trying to say is you need to eat to survive. You need to let go so you can move on. And it's just the same thing as using that past trauma or past experience to move forward.
Yeah.
It's a cycle, and it's time and manifestation, right? Because at one point you become docile and realize, okay, what's next?
You just said it perfect, right? It's a cycle. But if you're always repeating that same cycle,
Or you're stuck in the cycle and you're not moving forward,
then you're never gonna get what you manifest, right?
or you just don't know what to go forwards to. And
too.
that's sometimes where you're holding on to something that's dead, and it's gonna be a big ass explosion where it's like, holy shit, what happened? Think of it like being constipated, you know, like if you hold on to it and you just hold on, at one point you're getting hemorrhoids and you're bleeding because you held on too hard.
Technically speaking, yeah, but it's not really
I know.
everyone's
I give
fault.
very fun experiences. I mean, very fun examples.
It's not everyone's fault by the constipated either, but yeah.
You're
okay.
right. You're right. But that's where again it comes down to you needing
Well, look,
to take in certain nutrients, right?
yeah, and
Drink your prune juice.
if you want, if you want, you can even go further and just talk about the energies where you're not letting go of certain things. That alone can make you constipated, right?
Yeah, but that's it, right?
When you're looking at being angry and whatnot, you're holding on to the resentment. You're only manifesting more resentment with the people around you.
Yeah,
You know,
that's very
and
true.
There's
That's
there's
very
that
true
saying-
because you know what? I held on to a friendship once, and it was so bad in the way that I knew it was dead, but I kept holding it, and it started hurting the people I really love around me.
Yeah. Well, look, the quote is, "You're only as you are with the 5 people you hang around with," right? So, you know, if you're hanging out with a bunch of nobodies, a bunch of
I don't think the word nobody.
yeah,
is
it's not a good word,
I think
but
the word
I-
is you're being with people who you can't grow anymore with.
yeah, there you go.
Right?
It just
Because
doesn't
again,
work.
if you can't grow with the people around you, then what are you doing? You're just stuck in your place.
100%.
And then if
yeah.
you're manifesting something new, and the people next to you don't want to grow, then that's you recognizing you gotta let go
Yeah.
because that person doesn't want to move, but you do want to move, right?
yeah,
Like I let go of that friendship, and then look, we met.
sure,
right?
not long right after.
I met Andrew. I met new friends. I explored new places, and I just kept moving forwards. And I'm catapulted in a way that I'm in space now, and I'm like, woo, floating.
The other thing, you know, you want to point out is when you're trying to manifest, don't force the things to happen. Let it flow on its own.
Yeah, well,
that's a mistake a lot of people do.
I
and
think
I'm
that's
one of
actually
them.
very
That's-
important you're bringing
Yeah.
that up. How do you manifest properly? And I think it's being able, it's like looking at a river, right? And deciding to float with the river.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're standing and you're turning around and you're facing the current, you're not going with the flow. You're not
Yeah.
going with your
Yeah,
manifestation,
100%.
right? If I think this is a great example in itself. You're at a pool, for example, right? And it's lazy river, for example. But you got to go through it. But you're like, no, I don't want to. I just want to stand here. But then everybody's passing by, and at one point, a huge amount of people start passing by. So it's getting harder to push. But you push through them. You're hurting them, right? Same thing. You're holding on to something that you don't need to hold on anymore. And that's why manifestation is being able to be centered, but going with the flow. It's like being able to meditate, but your meditation is moving somewhere.
Yeah, yeah, completely agree.
Constipation to something better. Isn't that nice?
Yeah, a healthy digestion.
Yeah, well, that's it, right? Healthy digestion. And manifestation is a healthy spiritual digestion.
100%. Yep. Because you're looking at every sphere of nature in general, right?
Yeah, because spirit is energy, right? I really like explaining it like this. You have your mind, you have your body, you have spirit. But spirit is what makes everything function. And that's the energy that flows through. And based on, what's it called? Acupuncture? Or
Yeah,
what's it called?
acupuncture.
When you put the
Acupuncture,
little,
yeah.
okay, so the idea of acupuncture is that you're putting a needle in places where there's no spirit.
Those
And
are
the goal is that the needle attracts the spirit the same way Thomas Edison got electrocuted, you know, like the whole thing. That's the goal. So that's the idea behind it, and it's the same thing, right? Like if you're holding on to something, there's no more spirit. In the way that you're not manifesting anything, or you are manifesting, but you're not going with the flow.
You want the spirit to flow. That's the whole point of it. Is you want everything to flow in a harmonious fashion. So,
Exactly, and it's it's the idea of you should have goals, but ready yourself for certain consequences, because consequence is not bad or good. It's just consequences, the
a cause and
reaction to an action. Exactly, right?
Cause
So,
and effect.
I guess what I'm trying to say is be careful what you want to manifest too.
That's, your words are powerful. Remember that. Your words are very powerful.
You gotta be very careful too, because you might not really know what you want, and that's where materialism bombards you, right? Like materialism tells you you need to look a certain way or you need to be a certain way, and then you find out later on you look like Kardashian because you know went through so many operations for your ass to be looking good, right? Like, was it worth it after all? Look at Botched. It's a great show. But those are a lot of people where that type of influence had caught them and now caused them so many problems.
Never watched it.
And once you're dead, you're dead. Like, you can't get
exactly.
manifest anything. So that's a whole other topic, right?
So, I mean, what we can lead you off on is, you know, be patient with your manifestation. Don't rush it. Don't
And tweak it.
And be ready to tweak it, because you're not always gonna have everything the way you want it to happen.
Just like Anthony, right? You wanted a Ferrari, but then you tweaked it to getting a Lamborghini instead. For Anthony, it's like he wanted a center, then he wants an institution, now he has to decide. So he has to decide where is he tweaking it?
Yeah.
Left or right? How's it hanging? Get it?
Yeah. You had to throw that one in there.
I did.
So yeah, go easy on yourselves. If you don't get your manifestation within X amount of time that you actually wanted it, just let it happen, let it come. Continue focusing on your goals. Do the hard work that you got to do. Work on yourselves, and again, just be patient. It's gonna come, and time is just an illusion. So there is no time. Just be yourselves and be present. Make sure when you do manifest, make sure to be in your present state.
With a bow. To your present.
All right, guys, we'll leave you on that. Have a great day.
We get.